Welcome. Welcome to the next episode of the NexGen show. In this series, basically we talk to young people in our industry and we listen to their opinions and their thoughts on developments going on in their workplace. And also what are their hopes and aspirations as they move forward in their career. Today, we have a very special guest. This guest is actively involved in teaching students about advertising. On that note, I would like to welcome Aidan. Aidan, welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Aidan, you are from IACT College. Yeah? That's a premier college for advertising and media and marketing students. Tell us a little bit about IACT first.
Well, IACT has a little bit of a legacy within the industry, having been with very, very close ties with things like the IA as well as the 4As of Malaysia. But now in its current form, we are under the BAC Education Group. We still practice project-based learning. So the whole reason why IACT is not only so popular, but also so successful in terms of advertising and communications is really because we let the students work. We let the students experience everything themselves. The type of people that we want in the industry are typically much more practical focused, right? We want people who are hands-on. Students at ICT, they get the job done and they go through the steps. They go through everything the industry goes through. Everything from the creative strategy, ideation processes to the grueling shoots that sometimes takes place in TVCs.
I truly appreciate that approach to education. I used to run my own advertising school for a few years, and we pride ourselves in bridging the academia with the industry. In fact, we called our diploma the job-ready diploma, very much like what you're doing. Because sometimes we find that the industry evolves, right? And what you are doing is you're actually bringing current industry know-how into your classroom. On that note, how challenging it is with regards to the teaching of the subjects on advertising, when advertising itself is changing by the day?
I think the industry is moving extremely rapidly, right? You look at things like the developments in artificial intelligence, you look at things like programmatic advertising, you look at algorithms, you look at how people's preferences and trends, they change so quickly overnight. But I think that's just part of the industry, right? Even though now we are moving at breakneck speeds, these challenges were always present. The real challenge when it comes to education, when it comes to teaching students, is always creating not only a holistic learning experience, but creating a unique and personalized experience for each student. Not every student takes the same approach. Not every student and not every lecture is the same either, right? Every single time we walk into that classroom, it's going to be a different thing. We may cover the same topic, we may cover the same briefs, we may even cover the same case studies, but each approach is always different. So I think the challenge is not necessarily adapting to the industry, but adapting to the changing student preferences, as well as the student personalities, behaviors, and just generally their temperament to a certain extent as well.
Yes. You know, this is the thing about education. It has got this noble objective about it. No matter how advanced the industry becomes or evolves or develops, there's a foundational aspect of learning that they have to grasp, at least the basics, moving forward. But what you do is more than that, you of course, the principles of the business are thought, but beyond that, you all also get involved in shows, award shows and stuff like that. Tell us something about that.
I think a really important aspect is that, in school, in college, in university, yes, you are studying, advertising, design, broadcast and film. You may be majoring in that discipline, but you are not limited to that, right? We don't want to let the students go or graduate with a very narrow perception of what their options are. So I think award shows, like you mentioned, are a great way for them to expose themselves. One, of course, networking is ever critical in our industry. Expose themselves to just the people, the work, as well as their options, really, right? They look at award shows, they look at what some of the leading agencies in Malaysia are doing, both on a creative or on a effectiveness level, and they see that the sky's the limit, right? Whatever we do in the classroom, we want to push them to those sort of boundaries, but it's only at the awards shows that they get validated to a certain extent. In the classroom, of course, I can be parroting the same thing. I could be saying, do a SWOT analysis. I could be saying the 4 Ps are very important. Now, these are not things that we practice actively in the industry, but these foundational things, they start piecing it together in those award shows. They see those award-winning campaigns or even internationally renowned campaigns, and they see, I can do that too. Right? I don't see myself being limited. I see that the world's my oyster, essentially. And I think that's ever important in education and in industry as well.
One of the things that I've picked up, is that we as a market, Malaysia, we are basically a microcosm of Asia. We have different races, we have different cultures, we have different religions, we have so many different and diverse rituals, belief systems. And if a creative person, for example, wanted to thrive in an ecosystem which had all these elements, we have a very rich tapestry and environment for them to flourish. And what you are doing is something that the industry is noticing. They look forward to graduates from IACT because they know that these people go through the grind, or so to speak, and have to go to the front line and make presentations and stuff like that. Do you see this generation, this diverse generation of students different from, say, 5 years ago?
Different, they will always be different, right? I don't think that's neither a good thing or a bad thing, but the people entering colleges and graduating now are, I would personally say, at least the first form of true digital natives. So these are people who have no experience with analog devices. These are people who have always been accompanied by the internet. They grew up next to the internet. And because of that, their digital skills are a little bit more on point. They're a little bit more comfortable with exploring new technologies. And I think that's kind of what sets them apart. Now, obviously, they have their own set of needs and wants as well entering the industry. They're still quite a young, especially if we're talking about Gen Z, right? People always love referring to Gen Z entering the workforce because they are that new and very wild and a little bit different compared to the generations that came before. But I think what's fundamental is that you need to make sure that they appreciate balance. They grew up in a time where they understood that the internet has its goods and bads. Same goes with things like work-life balance. Same goes with creative insights, right? We tap into cultural norms, we tap into cultural practices. But I think they especially know how to toe that fine line very, very well between a certain sense of professionalism as well as a certain sense of putting themselves first in terms of mental health, in terms of empathy, in terms of tapping into their own personal ability to maximize briefs and to maximize executions.
How many graduates do you have now, say, every year?
Every year, we would graduate about over 100 students, if I'm not mistaken.
Very good.
And these come from all sorts of different programs. So
Tell us.
Yeah. So we have the broadcast and film program. We have the bachelor's in media, culture, and communication. We have the bachelor's in advertising and design, bachelor's in social media management, which is our brand new program. We also run, of course, our foundation in media studies program along with our diploma program. So we've streamlined the process into the diploma of media and communications, where students are actually exposed to every facet of media and communications, but in their final few semesters, they choose a specialization. I think this especially is very important because within advertising or within any field within our industry, what's extremely important is their diverse skill set. I think you would know best that an ad person or an ad specialist needs to be well acquainted with so many different aspects of the industry. Of course, you need to know what a gaffer is. You need to know what a DOP is. You need to know how a storyboard works. You're not limited just purely to your creative strategies, to your propositions, to your big ideas. I think what we're doing now is we're trying to incorporate that kind of holistic experience into our education and to get them to learn about other specialties as well. So hopefully moving forward, the specialists that we get are more well-rounded rather than feeling themselves pigeonholed into a specific role or task.
So your diploma is how long? About 2 years?
Now it's 2 years. So it's
and your degree program is?
Degree, if you are entering our bachelor degree program from a diploma, then it would typically be another 2 years. However, if you're entering with a foundation, then it'd be a full 3 years. So plus minus, if you look at the entire journey, it's a 4-year journey, depending on which path you take, of course.
Yes. And you have a mix of industry teachers and lecturers also, right?
Yes.
Apart from academia.
Yes, correct. So we invite guest speakers. Our lecturers are also people who are actively in the industry. This means they are active practitioners, which is great, right? That means the students have not only access to live updates in terms of what's happening in the industry, but also in terms of the rich experience that all of our part-timers as well as our industry practitioners have. I think that really sets us apart in terms of our pedigree and in terms of our teaching practice.
So how long have you been doing this, Aidan?
I'm entering my 3rd year now. Prior to this, I was finishing up all of the necessary kind of studying components and in industry as well.
So you must have some students out there already working that you're very proud of?
Yes, I think they're still of course, I'm proud of them for just finishing. I think that itself is an accomplishment in itself, but they are yet to sort of leave their mark in the industry just yet. But they are out there, they're running around, they are finding their way in the industry.
Yeah. There are a lot of parents in advertising, who work in advertising, who want to send their children to study that vocation, but they don't know where to go. And more often than not, it is IACT is top of mind. So listening to you and giving that clarity is very refreshing for our viewers. So on behalf of our viewers, we would like to thank you. We look forward to your products and also keep doing what you're doing, because inspiration is a continuum, yeah? And I can see that you have a lot of knowledge to bring to bear on them, and it should be a fascinating journey for them. So I want to thank you, Aidan, yeah?
Thank you very much.
Very much, yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of another very interesting episode. We've been talking to Aidan, and it's been very refreshing to learn about the pathways that are available for youngsters who are keen to learn and be trained in the subject of advertising, media, and communications. Thank you.